is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are FC.
Royals baseball from Kauffman Stadium. The Royals are 5-1 at home to begin the season. They've won 4 in a row after beating the Tigers last night. Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joe Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery are coming up. The Royals offense, for the most part, is a middle-of-the-road offense in the American League. But everything changes once there are 2 outs and you get into the later innings.
Sure does. Opponents beware. 2-out RBIs really break the back of the opponents. It crushes their morale. They think they're so close to getting the Royals out, and they're like, okay, we'll get him this pitch. Relentless frenzy-style hitting, especially brought to you by Kubota. Kubota Power Stats here will tell you the Royals are #1. They've got extreme skills, but the fact that they're doing it with 2 outs really hurts the opponents. Hope they keep it up.
And to add to that, the Royals have allowed the fewest runs in the American League with 2 outs. Now, we don't expect to see the same type of offense tonight with our pitching matchup. Jordan Zimmermann and Ian Kennedy will start game 2, and Joel and Monty will cover that when we come back. Royals baseball is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your Midwest Ford dealers, visit your MidwestFordDealers.com.
Beautiful night for baseball at Kauffman Stadium. Second of 19 on the year between the Royals and the Tigers. Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery, and the first of what could be some great pitching matchups between two guys that are new to their teams. A pair of free agents that have switched leagues and so far off to spectacular starts. Between the two of them, Jordan Zimmermann and Ian Kennedy, they've allowed one run. Zimmermann unscored upon yet. Kennedy finally gave up one run in Houston. So Monty, Zimmermann comes from Washington. Kennedy from San Diego, two guys that were in the National League. What makes each of them so good?
Well, they both have the ability to miss bats, but they actually do it in different fashions. We're going to see Ian Kennedy. He's got the curveball, the changeup, and he uses his fastball for a lot of strikeouts. See 11 of his 14 strikeouts on his fastball, so he's not afraid to climb the ladder with that particular pitch. Jordan Zimmermann, on the other hand, he's a guy that has a quality mix of 4 pitches as well, but he really goes to his off-speed pitches when he wants to miss a bat. When he goes for that strikeout, we're going to see 30% more with that slider. So he loves the slider in those type of situations.
Should be a quick-paced game tonight, the way both of these pitchers work. And how about the fact that these two franchises have played 646 times? The Royals have won 322, the Tigers 324. We know this much. The Royals of late have been playing very good baseball against the American League Central. Haven't lost in the division yet this season. When we come back, we'll continue to get you ready for the contest and talk about that Central domination.
It's done with his warm-up tosses and now getting ready to take on the Detroit Tigers. The Royals were very good in their division last year. Our Honda most trusted players. The Royals have won their last 9 in the Central Division and scoring over 5 runs per game.
Yep, they're tied for first with the Angels for best records in their division. It's really an important stat.
And the Royals have already swept the Minnesota Twins, and they've won game 1 of this series with the Tigers. So again, success in the division. They are 4-0 against the Central. The Royals taking game one 8-6 with a combined 19 hits. We expect better pitching tonight with Ian Kennedy for the Royals and Jordan Zimmermann for the Tigers. The first pitch and the starting lineups are coming up next. Royals baseball is brought to you by your local Kansas City area Chevy dealers. Visit for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. By Panera Bread, food as it should be with 24 Kansas City metro locations. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. Just what Kansas City needed. We got some rain last night. We got some rain this morning, but it's gone. And we shouldn't have any issues tonight as the Royals and Tigers resume their series. So the Tigers last night with 6 runs on 10 hits. But some of the biggest outs last night were with Miguel Cabrera at the plate with the bases loaded.
Guy's got a lot of pride. I don't know tonight. Maybe Kennedy can find some same holes that some of the other Royals pitchers did last night. Kennedy's been really good. He's got all 4 pitches working for him right now. Righties or lefties not doing much. He's only given up 7 hits to both righties and lefties in 2 starts. He's been really good. Likes to spot his fastball. He'll go upstairs for a strikeout when he needs to with his fastball, but if his changeup, curve, and slider are working, he can be dangerous.
Here are the Royals defensively, presented by Ford, and the same defense as last night with Gordon, Kane, and Dyson in the outfield. On the infield, Moustakas, Escobar, Infante, and Hosmer, and Salvador Perez is behind the plate. And our umpiring crew, that's the crew chief, Larry Vanover, in his 24th year as a big league umpire. He'll be at second base. David Rackley will call the balls and strikes. Alfonso Marquez is at second base, and Chris Guccione is at third. There's Alfonso Marquez, and I'll let you ponder this for a few moments. Alfonso Marquez place in Royals history, as Ian Kennedy's first pitch of the game is lifted to center field by Kinsler. Combination of shadows and sunlight for Lorenzo Cain, and he brings it down for the out. Kinsler had 2 hits and a run scored last night.
Interesting, as I asked Lorenzo Cain before the game, Lo, the 6:15 starts are new here. How was the vision last night? He told me it was an overcast sky. Didn't really get a feel for it one way or another, and he gets the first ball in the sunlight today, and believe me, With that sun coming in and out here at this time of night could be interesting. He stayed with that one with no problem, though.
Justin Upton with one out. And a good fastball at the knees for a strike. And that pitch right there is basically Ian Kennedy in his first 2 starts. Fastballs down and on the corners.
With some late movement, they call that. Late life. Down in the zone.
Backed him off the plate, 1-1. Upton is off to a slow start. It's still very early. He was on base 3 times in last night's game with 2 walks and a single. By him at 92 miles an hour.
So right now Upton's thinking, okay, I'm down in the count. He's had success on 2 fastballs with me. He's probably going to try it again. So he's going to be looking for the fastball. Maybe Kennedy will continue to stay there, or Salvi, whatever he decides to put down.
Great pitch. And you figure Upton's thinking, I'm not going to get another fastball, am I?
Right. So he's thinking, and that's what you want hitters to do. Think. And Upton, you got to go. That was some cheese at the knees. Perfect location.
Two down to Miguel Cabrera. A little bit low. On one hand, Miguel Cabrera drove in 2 runs last night. On the other hand, it had to be one of the worst games he's had in quite a while, as he struck out 4 times. It's just the 4th time he's done that in his career. One hop out to Moustakas, and Kennedy has a very quick top of the 1st inning. 3 up, 3 down against Kinsler, Upton, and Cabrera. The bottom of the 1st inning, the Royals are coming off a season high 8 runs and winning last night 8-6 as Ned Yost goes with the same lineup. This is the lineup he thought about all off season, with Gerard Dyson batting 9th and in right field, and Dyson returned to the lineup last night, and now the Royals will get a look at 29-year-old right-hander Jordan Zimmermann.
They will, and for a lot of the Royals, it'll be the first time they've seen him. 90 to 94 with his fastball. He'll go 2 and 4 seam. 4 seams, that one right there, stays straight. Escobar on it. 2-seamer has a little sink to it. He'll try to keep that 2-seamer on both sides of the plate, but he's very confident with his fastball. He's got a slider, curve, change. Now the slider and fastball combination is what he uses the most. He'll drop that curveball in against lefties and righties on both sides of the plate. And saves the changeup for later in the game, you know, like most pitchers do. Most starters will save something for later, depending on what the hitter looks like he's doing with his pitches. For Kennedy, they weren't touching his fastball, and so far Zimmerman's trying to establish it. And if he can get him out with a 1 pitch, he'll stay with it until the hitter gets on it. And once the hitter jumps on one of those pitches, then he'll say, okay, we'll try this pitch then.
2-2 on Escobar, and down he goes. Here are the Tigers defensively, and the Tigers made big improvements last year on defense. They were 6th in the major leagues in defensive runs saved after years of being average or below average, and they've done that this year without Cameron Maybin, who is supposed to be in center, and James McCann, who is supposed to be behind the plate. It's Jared Saltalamacchia filling in, and he got a big hit in last night's game. Moustakas lifts it to left field, and that's caught by Upton, and there are 2 down.
Early parts of the game, right fielder will have the most difficulty in this sun here at 6:15. 6:15 start. JD Martinez. Shadows a little bit around. Has some effect, but not like it does when the shadows are right there between the hitter and the pitcher. Very little wind at the start of this game. And we have 2 pitchers that are on top of their game.
Kane missed the slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. And now down 1 ball, 2 strikes. Zimmerman, we haven't seen much of him all that time in the National League pitching for the Nationals, but he gets after it. Not a whole lot of time in between pitches.
Nope. Good quick tempo. And that high fastball is a pitch that he likes to elevate with 2 strikes. Tries to get the swing and miss. So really both offenses can be aggressive. We saw Kinsler swinging at the first pitch to Kennedy. These guys, they can be hacking.
Right over the inside. So Zimmerman strikes out 2 in his 1-2-3 first inning. Victor Martinez will lead off the top of the second inning. Martinez drove in a run the painful way. He was hit by a pitch last night on his right kneecap, our University of Kansas hospital injury report, and then was removed for a pinch runner. And we were telling you all night about all the trouble he was having with his left knee. He's had surgery on that knee twice, and it bothered him a lot last year. This one plunked the right knee.
Okay, and he's really fortunate. Even though it's extremely painful, the ball hits the top of the kneecap. If it hits the side of the kneecap, even at 83, it could dislodge the kneecap. So very, very fortunate for him and the Tigers.
Out of play, 1 ball, 1 strike. Victor Martinez, J.D. Martinez, and Nick Castellanos coming up for the Tigers in the second inning. Ian Kennedy got the Tigers in order in the first with his first strikeout. 2 balls and 1 strike. Kennedy on Thursday at the Astros, a very dangerous offensive team, allowed just 2 hits and 1 run over 7 innings.
Pretty good young offensive team.
Change up, and Martinez lays off of it. 3 balls and 1 strike. Kennedy did not allow a hit in the game on Thursday until the 6th inning. He did not allow that run until the 7th inning. And the Royals won 6-2. That was the 4th and final game.
5 out of the 9 Tiger hitters have faced him before. So there'll be a few newcomers. Same way with the Royals, almost the same. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, because familiarity is important for hitters and pitchers. They know one another already, but still, unless you have just great numbers against a guy, you're kind of up there going, well, I hope he makes a mistake. But if you have good numbers against a certain pitcher, you have extreme confidence and you know you're going to bust the guy. So the confidence, again, is the hitter's best friend. Pitchers too.
That is out of play, off to the left field side.
Thing that makes a lot of these Tigers hitters so dangerous is, sure, you hear the word they're professional hitters, and they are. They have a lot of experience, but they use the whole field. Hardly any of them are one-way type hitters. There's Wally Joyner doing a great job as their hitting instructor. Not hardly any of them are dead pull. They like to spray the ball around, and Martinez is doing that here.
Very high in the air. Hosmer calls for it. 1 down in the second. And it seems like those veteran professional hitters, more than the younger hitters that Kennedy saw when the Royals faced the Twins and the Astros, that they do a better job of staying with their plan. So if the pitcher's got good stuff that night, or the crowd starts to roar in a big moment, they still have their plan, where a younger guy might alter his plan.
Swing outside of the zone a little bit. Yeah, I agree with that.
Good pitch. Strike 1 to J.D. Martinez. He was on base 3 times. 2 walks, a single, and a run scored last night.
Another guy that really likes to stay inside the baseball as a hitter, and what I mean by that, using the opposite field. He's inside out swinger. He'll pull if it's an off-speed floater. And one other thing you'll notice about these 2 pitchers, and we mentioned it briefly, is their tempos. Both of these veteran pitchers, they get right after it. They want to stay in their groove. They want to keep the defense behind them. As you see that split finger changeup type of grip there that Kennedy uses to make that ball change speeds and go down. Quick tempo is really a beautiful thing.
1 and 2. Got him with a fastball away. Kennedy has now struck out 16 hitters this year, Hud, and he's not fooling them with off-speed stuff. 13 of his 16 strikeouts have been with his fastball.
And that'll just tell you, Rhino, that's a great number, that what you can do with variations off the fastball. 2 and 4 seam fastballs. They're 2 different pitches. They're saying, sure, it's a fastball and the velocity is similar, but it's the movement and the location of those pitches that really they can use until the opponent hits it, and then they'll start going to them secondary pitches. But fastball is the best pitch in baseball, my opinion.
Nick Castellanos is off to a good start for the Tigers. He did not play in last night's game. Mike Aviles, the former Royal, was at third. Castellanos has ditched the facial hair. He looks about 10 years younger this year, and a little different look to his stance.
He's got that bat resting on his shoulders.
Drives that toward the right field corner. Dyson onto the track, leaping up against the wall, and he makes the play. It's a foul ball catch. Kennedy gets some help from his defense, and he has set down the first 6 Tigers tonight.
Good concentration. Yeah, little wall bump.
No score, bottom of the second. Okay, anyone want to take a stab at Alfonso Marquez place in Royals history? He's the second base umpire tonight. He is the first, by the way, first ever Mexican-born umpire to make it to the major leagues. But that's not his place in Royals history. Maybe this will remind you. Alfonso Marquez was the home plate umpire, and the called third strike to give the Royals the final out of Game 5 of the World Series.
I wouldn't have known that because he was behind the plate with a mask on, covering his handsome looks. But now looking at him here, that would have been easy to call, but they call him Fonzie.
3-1 on Hosmer. You know, I learned something about that, and I've seen that highlight 100 times. But it was during FanFest when Drew Butera presented the ball because he had held on to it.
Well, you were on stage with him.
He presented the ball back to the Royals.
Okay.
And watching that replay now, you know, you notice one thing and then you can't take your eyes off it every time you see it again and again. Drew Butera thanked Alfonso Marquez before he went out to Wade Davis. Hosmer grounds it to Cabrera, and that ball flattened out and goes under his glove into right field. So we'll see how they score that. And it is a single. So for Hosmer, that gives him a 10-game hitting streak, and now he's reached base safely in 22 consecutive regular season games going back to last year.
How about it? You know, when you got a streak going, and players, they don't really pay a lot of attention to that when it's not a big number, but get it done early. Get that first hit in there, and sure enough, that's a difficult play. Backhand side ball, hit, bounced, stayed under his glove. Clean knock. Only Eric Hosmer himself could make that play.
Drew Butera's father, Sal Butera, caught for a long time in the big leagues, and he told his son, if an umpire does a good job, thank him. So he started to take off. Oh, wait a minute. Thank you. And then a little awkward moment as he ran into Wilmer Flores, who was on his way back to the first base dugout.
Way to get the skinny.
But now when I watch that every time, that's what I see, is Drew Butera taking a step to Wade Davis and then hearing his father's voice and turning around and saying thank you. And then the celebration begins.
Yeah, and I say thank you, because now every time I see that, we'll know what he was doing. I never knew that. That's outstanding.
Kendrys Morales had a heck of a night last night. He scored 3 times. He had 2 singles, a walk, and he was hit by a pitch and turned all of that into 3 runs. Still 1-2.
Morales is like, you know, one of those professional hitters we were talking about. He's going to hit the ball where it's pitched. And we witnessed it last night with that open left side of the infield, how he just dribbled one through there. Ooh.
So he changed speeds on the breaking ball, and Zimmerman has struck out 3 of the first 5 batters he has faced.
Beauty there. He hadn't shown that pitch yet until a strikeout time. So he's going to use the big curve down in the zone and also the high fastball for strikeouts.
Zimmerman with a 0 ERA. Top the leaderboard with our Toyota League leaders. Ian Kennedy is 3rd. How about 4 of the top 5 in the American League are from the AL Central?
Not surprised. The AL Central is loaded with talent, and especially guys on the mound that can throw that ball. Hard throwers, a lot of them.
Alex didn't mean to do it. No balls and 2 strikes. Alex was hitless last night, but he walked twice and scored twice.
You know, you really wouldn't classify Zimmerman or Kennedy as hard throwers, but it looks like it when they mix in their other pitches.
And I wonder, not to take anything away from them, but going back to your comments in the first inning about the shadows this time of night, if that's not just enough to give both of them a little more advantage.
Well, see how bright the hitting backdrop is there under the scoreboard. There's a definite glare there. I mean, so whenever the sun is on a field, and especially when it's shining on the backdrop like that, then the ball's gonna be a little darker against that bright backdrop. There was a day when there were all bleachers back there in every ballpark. There was no hitter's backdrop. And it was very difficult for hitters to pick the ball up out of the white t-shirts that were in the back. I mean, it was dangerous, especially in the day when they didn't wear batting helmets. So you really had to take your chances of picking up that ball, and you didn't have sunglasses either as hitters. So hitters had a little break here in this modern game of baseball.
Close. 2-2.
Riding the pine for 9 like I did with the Cardinals. Red Shandies, longtime Hall of Famer in his 90s now. Used to tell stories about the old days, and they were frightening. As a kid, you know, you had to face those powerful throwers that didn't know where it was going, and you had no helmet, and you couldn't see in the backdrop.
Well, the two oldest ballparks, Fenway Park and Wrigley Field, still have seats out in that area, but you can't sit in them anymore. They're old bleacher seats beyond center field that used to be occupied by fans, but haven't for a long time because of that reason.
Alex is due.
Hosmer runs, and did he make contact?
Nope.
Alex thinks he nicked it, but home plate umpire David Rackley says no. So he strikes out, but Saltalamacchia dropped it, and Hosmer gets a stolen base.
Like the body language, the sign language that home plate Rackley was using. So he did
get a piece of it,
but he caught it.
Oh, and he's saying in transition.
Yeah, and he dropped the ball in transition. See what he's doing with his hands there. Rackley's saying, hey, he was in the transfer. He's okay.
Good call. By the way, the league has sent out an email in regard to replay. There has been a malfunction here tonight, and we think it's on the Tigers side, but one team can't have replay while the other one does. So there is a backup rule when that happens. Both teams must use their regular challenge, but if you lose the challenge, umpires can request that the umpires review it any inning, so you don't have to wait until the 7th inning or later. The regular rule is the manager can challenge all he wants so long as he's right, but when he's wrong, he loses his challenge. But from the 7th inning on, he can request the umpires take a look at it, which they will give the managers on every occasion. But now, if the Royals or Tigers lose it in the first 2 or 3 innings, they can request, and they don't have to wait till the 7th. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Salvi.
Salvi got a good rip there. Last night he had a couple of great rips. That double down the line played it a pair there. It's a beautiful stroke, timely. 2 outs, of course, and then the hanging curve, and he jumped all over it. But right now in this situation with Hosmer at second base after stealing the bag and a runner in scoring position, you don't know against Zimmerman if you'll get any more opportunities. So you're going to try to do whatever he can to try to knock that run home. Zimmerman using 2 seamers in, sliders away to Salvi. Doing all he can, Zimmerman, to keep the ball out of the middle of the plate.
No swing. So 3-2 on Salvi.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, not even close.
Yeah, that was a beauty. Salvi's, he was convicted that he did not. Convinced. And now, high fastball or curveball slider away. Let's see what they call. 3-2. He's looking for the punch out. If you keep the ball down low and he swings, he's got a chance to hit it on the ground and find a hole. If it's a high fastball, he might get under it and pop it up. So depending on what Saltalamacchia, the catcher, and Zimmerman want to do, and now they're having a hard time figuring out what they want to do here. This is not a major part of the game, but it's the first run scoring opportunity for the Royals.
Salvi takes the walk. So after all that shaking off, Zimmerman could not give him a pitch that was tempting. 2 on, but 2 out to Omar Infante.
Shocked the house. Salvi got another walk. That's his 3rd on the year.
Infante lost an 8-game hitting streak last night. He was 0 for 4. He's had a tough time with Zimmerman, although he's seen him quite a bit compared to his teammates. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Fontaine typically aggressive against fastballs and took that one down the middle.
One and one.
That's that slider, 86 to 89 miles an hour he'll throw with that. That slider has a nice little tight break. Curveball 79 to 82.
Good fastball with movement over the outside. 1-2. Hosmer's at second. Perez is at first. 2 down, which was not a problem last night. The Royals scored all 8 of their runs with 2 outs.
Outfield shallow, especially JD Martinez in right.
And that time he did go around. So Jordan Zimmermann, he has a long inning. 29 pitches, but he strikes out the side, and he has struck out 5 Royals in the first 2 innings. From Fox Sports Kansas City is at Kauffman Stadium tonight, talking with fans about streaming Royals games on Fox Sports Go. If you're a customer of a participating pay TV provider, you can stream our telecasts. You can watch on your phone or tablet with the Fox Sports Go app. And you can download that free app or visit foxsportsgo.com. Seems like they're giving away some free stuff.
Heck, today before the game, I got to go out and stream the parking lot here at the K, and we found a long-time employee out there that worked at the toll booth there where they take the money when the cars come in for parking, and gave her a free iPad. She was excited. So the Royals, Fox Sports Go, Kansas City here said, hey, we want to make this a special day for one of the employees out in the parking lot, somebody who works hard. So she was thrilled.
Three and one on Jared Saltalamacchia. He leads the Tigers, and this was supposed to be the backup catcher. He leads the Tigers with 5 home runs and 14 driven in. Hit a big 3-run home run last night, and he is on with a leadoff walk.
Duffy tried that breaker on him and it stayed up out over the plate, and Saltalamacchia, he squared it up as good as you can square a ball up, straight away center field. That was a nice swing and really got the Tigers back into it.
Kelly get him a sweatshirt? Attaboy, Kelly. And Hud mentioned that there is not much wind tonight, and that's good for Kelly more than anybody else because he's working the center field cameras. So when it gets windy and the wind starts whipping all that water around from the water spectacular, that's why sometimes, there he is, see him just to the left of the base of Crown Vision. And sometimes you get that misty shot from center field through the water. 0-2 on Anthony Gose.
Think we got enough cameras up there
I think so.
to capture the action? Wow.
See, we are telecasting. The Tigers are. And there is a national network here as well. Three pitches. And Gose is down on strikes. Another fastball. So make it 17 strikeouts this year for Kennedy and 14 with his fastball.
Elevated fastball, that's what he likes to do. Now Dave Ireland tried to work with him this spring on getting some low strikeouts as well as that, but you know, once you're a veteran guy and you're established with the way you execute your pitches, it's hard to change.
And that brings up Jose Iglesias, the Tigers shortstop. He was 1 for 5 in last night's game. He had an infield single and a run scored in the 8th. And that run made the game a 2-run game. The Royals at one point had a 5-run lead, and then later in the game had a 6-run lead, and the Tigers just wouldn't go away. Runner going, and that's up the right field line. Dyson picks it off. Iglesias digs for second, and that was not a good idea. And then he goes in standing up, making it a very easy play for Alcides Escobar. And then Iglesias, on his way back to the dugout, turned and gestured toward first base coach Omar Vizquel.
Don't think he was throwing Omar under the bus, do you? But look at him, he's got to know the outfield arm. Dyson, he's got an excellent throwing arm. One hopper, no problem, got him by 10 feet. And even though Dyson could be the smallest as far as height goes, a right fielder there is in baseball, he possesses a cannon for an arm. Great throw. 26th career assist for Jarrod Dyson, by the way.
Watch this.
Well,
that's an 11-time Gold Glover, by the way, in the first base coach's box.
Could have been upset at himself, but we don't know. Tester.
Kane on the run, and that's going to sail over his head. Ian Kinsler with 2 down. Drives in Saltalamacchia, and the Tigers take a 1-0 lead. Well, to your point, I hope that's what he was doing, because.
Well, obviously, Kinsler, knowing a lot about Kennedy, second time up is the second pitch he swung at. He swung at the first pitch, second time, first pitch, and he hit both of them very well. That one landed with a stake attached. Nice inside out swing by Kinsler.
So that could have been a 2-run double if Iglesias holds at first base. And now Upton. He struck out in the first inning. Chased a slider and missed. 0-1. Teammates, former teammates, hooking up here with the Arizona Diamondbacks. 1-1 on Upton. Two balls and one strike.
Love how Ian Kinsler stayed inside the baseball. Watch this now. This ball's out over the middle of the plate. He didn't try to pull it, but look at how his hands came through. But the barrel and everything was going to right center field, and he hits the curve right like they teach it, opposite field. Stay inside with your hands, and that way you don't roll over and hit a grounder. 2 pitches, 2 at-bats is all Kinsler's seen, and he hit both of them hard. Makes him now 6 for 9 in his career against Kindy.
Now Upton gets jammed. Escobar is out. He's got it. Another great play for Alcides Escobar as he saves a run, and the Tigers leave Kinsler at second base.
Oh, on contact, everybody was thinking, oh no, they got another run here. Escobar, great speed, perfect route to the ball. Look at that extension and concentration. Thank you.
Escobar saves another run with this defensive play at short.
Okay, look at his starting point right there. Starting point right there, playing back. Oh, that's just perfect timing. If your route wavers at all and you do any kind of a horseshoe or any kind of movement, you don't catch that. You got to go directly back on the ball. Great concentration. Of course, that's one of the reasons why he wears the gold. Would be 2-0.
Dyson fouls away a bunt, and now with a little half swing, that ball almost spun fair, but it stayed in the right-hand batter's box. Dyson back from the disabled list last night in his first at-bat. Drove in a run with a single and scored, and then singled again in the 8th. One ball and 2 strikes.
There is an advantage hitting in the 9-hole. You get to see 8 hitters and what the pitcher does to them before they get to you. And you get to hear all the guys coming back to the dugout.
Broken bat, Iglesias. Close, but out. Remember, this year at Kauffman Stadium, Buck Nights are on Thursdays. So we have one tomorrow where you can come out and enjoy the Royals, save some cash, enjoying delicious hot dogs and peanuts for just $1 each. You can get your tickets right now. Call 1-800-6-ROYALS. They're standing by waiting for your call, or go online at royals.com/promotions. Tomorrow at 6:15, it's Edinson Volquez against Mike Pelfrey, the former Wichita State Shocker. Escobar struck out swinging in the first inning. Zimmerman's already struck out 5, and now he's 0-2 on Escobar. Zimmerman struck out just 7 in his first 13 innings before tonight, but he's been a strikeout pitcher tonight.
Against a team that's very difficult to strike out in the Royals. A team that puts the ball in play, but obviously he is hitting his spots. That's what he wants with the high fastball.
Cabrera just inside the line for the second out. Zimmerman is truly a small town boy. He is from Auburndale, Wisconsin. Population 738. And was drafted by the Washington Nationals out of the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point, which is a Division III program, but taken in the second round. Mike Moustakas into center field for a 2-out single. He's 1 for 2.
Fastball again, and Zimmerman loves it, by the way. He's very aggressive with the pitch, but he missed out over it, and Moose, it jammed him, but he's able to stay right in the middle of the field. Man, it must be nice to have a name Moose or a name like Lou. No one ever boos you.
Right.
We hear those Moose calls, though, in every park we play in America.
And when that happens, I wonder how many of the home fans think that they're boos and don't know why, but they just boo because they think everybody else is. Now, why are we booing this guy again? What did he do? No, they're not booing him. They're saying Moose.
Yeah,
oh, okay. Kane struck out looking in the first inning, and now Moustakas, who ended up getting a pretty good break, is out. And the Tigers really had to scramble to make that play. Moustakas left early. Zimmerman threw over there. The Royals may take another look at it, and now they have decided that Moustakas was out. But boy, that was a quickly developing 1-3-6 to make that happen.
It's too bad Zimmerman threw over to first. Moose would have had him a bag. Got him.
on Ian Kinsler's third inning double. Our sprint trivia question for tonight, and this is one night after Salvador Perez drove in 5 runs. A little bit low to Miguel Cabrera. Who holds the Royals single game record for most RBIs by a catcher? So we give you multiple choice. Jam badly. Escobar has all the time in the world to throw over to first. And Cabrera is 0 for 2, both times grounding out. John Buck, Jerry Grody, Mike McFarland, or Miguel Olivo.
Hey, I like the multiple choice. Got 1 in 4 chances.
I can't tell you one thing about Jerry Grody's time with the Royals.
Thought he was more a Met, wasn't he?
I remember him with the Mets. I'm going to go with Miguel Olivo. And the number 7 for some reason sticks out for me, that he had a 7 RBI game. Victor Martinez fouled out to Hosmer in the second inning. John Buck has a 5 RBI game in his career with the Royals, and that was what, Holtzy, 2009. So it was the first time a Royals catcher had driven in 5 runs in a game since 2009, when John Buck had 5. So that would mean that Miguel Olivo or whomever had to have accomplished it before 2009.
Okay.
Does that help?
I'm going with Mike McFarland because I want to give him a shout out. He's my buddy and I like him. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Miguel Olivo was here 2008 through 2009. So I'm going to say Miguel Olivo in 2008.
Sound pretty confident.
How is Mac doing, by the way?
Good. Busy.
Yeah?
He's busy. Got that.
He of Mac and Sights.
Got that baseball school working. Teams all over playing baseball. He's got softball. Girls playing softball. He's a busy man.
You know, he was a broadcaster for a while.
Yes. And like many of us, he has baseball on the brain.
Got it in on him. Kane comes over from center. Gordon over from left, and Alex brings it down for the second out. 2 down, and let's welcome in Joel Goldberg.
All right, guys, I'll give you a lifeline. It is not Mike McFarland, although Mac had 2 5 RBI games, including this one in 1991. The first one, he hit a grand slam against Baltimore, and on this day, an 18-run outburst by the Royals offense. He and Brian McRae each had home runs, a club record 6 home runs that has once been matched since that day. And so that was a big offensive day with the 18 runs, and Mac says he remembers it, and he promises he feels worse today than he did back then. That's all that Mac Insights work.
Now, Salvi last year, if I recall, broke Mac's record for home runs in a single season by a catcher.
I agree with that. I remember. By 1, I think.
One ball, 1 strike to J.D. Martinez, and now 1 and 2. He struck out in the second inning. The Sights half of Mac and Sights. Kevin Seitzer, will see him in interleague play, the hitting coach of the Braves. And Atlanta, who had lost their first 9, just like Minnesota, bounce back with 4 straight wins. On the ground, deep short, backhanded, jump, throw, one hop, and somehow Hosmer found that ball as it appeared to go through JD Martinez. Great plays on both sides of the diamond.
Whenever the ball's hit, you know a play's going to be made on it. Wow, another gold on gold crime. Beautiful pick.
Lorenzo Cain will lead off the bottom of the 4th inning. He was at the plate with 2 down in the 3rd when Mike Moustakas was caught stealing, so he gets a fresh count. Cain in last night's game led off 3 times, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th, and now here he leads off in the 4th. No balls and 2 strikes. Jordan Zimmermann has struck out 5 in the first 3 innings. He has walked 1. 1 and 2 on Cain. Mentioned last inning that he is from Little Auburndale, Wisconsin. Population 738. Which happens to be about 70 miles from Mike Jirschele's hometown, Clintonville, Wisconsin. So I'll bet if we got the 2 of them together, we could hear about some Auburndale, Clintonville basketball rivalries or football games.
I'm wondering if Jirsch showed him any of his handyman skills building furniture.
The job that Mike Jirschele's had for many, many years during the offseason, building and repairing furniture. Cain is down on strikes for a 2nd time against Zimmermann, and now Zimmermann has 6 strikeouts in 3 1/3 innings. We remind you, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Royals have 2 hits so far against Zimmermann, one by Eric Hosmer. He led off the 2nd inning with a ground ball that flattened out on the first baseman Cabrera and went under his glove for a single, and then Hosmer stole second base. No balls and 2 strikes.
Zimmerman's good, by the way. He's got excellent stuff. 2 and 4 seam fastballs, sliders, occasional curves, and really haven't seen too many changeups yet.
His contract was debated quite a bit during the offseason. The Tigers gave him more than $100 million. He was coming off a year where his ERA was high for his standards. He had given up a career high in home runs. So he didn't appear to be at his peak when he became a free agent, but he's won 19 games. He has won 12 or more games in 4 consecutive seasons. The 19-win season was in 2013. He's thrown a no-hitter. And that's exactly who the Tigers wanted, and that's who they got. He is, by the way, the first pitcher in Major League history to earn that much money, over $100 million, who's already had Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, I'd heard that. Ooh, man.
Hosmer shakes his left hand. It was his right hand with that follow through. One of the hands came off of his handle, and that's 7 strikeouts for Zimmerman in 3 2/3 innings. There they are. Modeled beautifully by Rex Hudler. Zubaz Palooza is coming up on Friday. Your theme ticket includes a pair of these World Series themed Zubaz pants.
They have different sizes, so really, you guys that might be a little bigger, there's plenty of room for you. You gotta like it. Pockets, that's right. You want a pocket, you got it.
You can tuck your tie in if you want to.
You can if you want. It works all different ways. Drawstring attached too, by the way. That's a new addition. I don't believe the other one had those in them, but they know if you want to draw them in, you can. If you want to let them out, it's all good. Believe it. Come on, sign up now. Get you some. Remember, they're great PJs. You can wear them around the house, and also you can go to the grocery store in them if you please.
You can. I don't think on the little tag that you had on the side of the Zubaz where it has the the recommended uses, I don't know if going to the grocery store is on that list, but you can. Back to Zimmerman. He has 4 scoreless innings. He's allowed 2 singles, and he has struck out 7. And at the end of 4, Detroit leads 1-0. Kennedy back to work. He's had a nice night. He's given up 1 run, 2 hits in 4 innings. His counterpart, Jordan Zimmermann, has given up no runs, 2 hits in 4 innings. Kennedy has struck out 3, and Zimmermann has struck out 7. The Tiger run came in the 3rd inning with 2 down. Ian Kinsler's double scored Jared Saltalamacchia. There's Castellanos. Nick Castellanos fouled out to Dyson in right field in the 2nd inning. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kennedy, outside of allowing that 1 run in the 3rd inning, in his other 3 innings, he's gotten the Tigers in order. Castellanos reaching and just fouls it away. Still 1-2. Oh, hi, Monty. How are you?
Doing great.
Hey, Hud, where'd you come from?
Just popped in, man.
Oh, yeah. Nice to see you. I think we're going to talk some pitching and some good pitching tonight.
You got that right.
I know pitchers like a pitch like that, getting Castellanos off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Nolan Ryan called that a bow tie. Monty, what did you call it?
Low bridge.
There you go. You low bridged him.
Jammed him. Still 2-2. Going to give you a little video summary of the work of Kennedy and Zimmermann. Kennedy's ERA entering tonight 0.66. Zimmerman's was and is 0. And they're pitching just like those low ERAs in the first 4 innings. Changeup struck him out. And now Kennedy has 4. And as we promised earlier in the game, Monty, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Well, a lot of times you have a matchup, such excitement coming into the game, you don't know what you're going to get, but tonight you're getting exactly what you thought you were going to get. A couple of guys who have come into the season throwing the ball extremely well. Tonight, no different on both sides. They're so far out dueling Ian Kennedy, but things can change here, Hud.
Absolutely. Believe me, the Royals and their comeback ability and the fact that they usually score their runs late anyway, they're just trying to figure him out. But for Kennedy, one thing I've noticed about him is different, and there's a breaking ball that got away from him. He slowed his tempo from the first 2 or 3 innings. He's slowed it down a little bit now. Now he's thinking his way through. He's finishing the 2nd time through the order here, 3rd time coming up. And both of them really, though, with a nice quick tempo.
And what I like about both of these pitchers is the fact they are on the attack. They're both very aggressive, and I think it's a real good example, especially for young pitchers. You don't have to throw the ball, extremely hard to be effective. These guys have nice fastballs. Nothing against their fastballs, but they challenge hitters with their fastballs. They get ahead with their fastballs, and then they use their off pitches occasionally to get the guys out.
Isn't that the whole idea of pitching?
I think so many pitchers could be much more effective if they would follow this example and use their fastball more to get ahead of hitters, because again, it doesn't matter. You don't have to throw 98 miles an hour to be effective with your fastball. 2 really good examples tonight.
Yeah, and I was saying that they're not considered power pitchers, but they're pitching efficiently with their 92 to 93 mile an hour fastball. And nothing against Shane Green, the Tigers starter last night, but he had good stuff, but he was nibbling. He was trying to be a little too fine. He wasn't going right after him, being aggressive.
That's what I like. They're attacking the strike zone. They get ahead. Then they let all 4 of their pitches go to work for them.
Another strikeout for Kennedy. And on the topic of fastballs, that is 5 for him tonight. That is 19 on the year. And 15 of his 19 strikeouts at 91, 92, 93 have been with the fastball.
Really outstanding confidence in that fastball. The ability to, with intent, elevate that fastball to miss bats.
And the reason is he's missing in the middle, Monty. I mean, he's missing out of the middle. He's executing right where he wants to put it.
One thing we saw a lot of Ian Kennedy in his last start in Houston is when he used that fastball up, he would pitch away, up and away. He used a big part of the ballpark. It's really difficult to hit a ball out opposite field if it's a fastball up in the strike zone. If you get it up on the inside part, it's easy to turn on it and hit it out. But he pitched to his ballpark. He pitched to the big part of the ballpark.
Anthony Gose was a strikeout victim in the 3rd inning. Changeup down and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fox Tracks brought to you by the Missouri Lottery, and it did just miss as Salvi tried to pull it back into the strike zone.
Late life down in the zone with a changeup.
1-2. Gose is having a bad time with that fastball tonight.
Can you tell by his body language? You see how he shrugged his shoulders. You know, you can't do that up there and let Kennedy and Salvi know that they might have you. Of course, Gose, he's a confident big leaguer. He's a confident guy, but you gotta be careful up there with that body language.
Again, and Gose takes it out on his bat. Kennedy strikes out the side. Castellanos, Saltalamacchia, and Gose.
Yeehaw, you got to go.
But he just grabbed a piece of paper that has both lineups on it, so he's already planning for the top of the 6th inning and seeing where he is in the Tigers batting order. It'll begin with Jose Iglesias. Now the Royals have to figure out Jordan Zimmermann, who has pitched 4 scoreless innings with 7 strikeouts. The Royals have had 3 runners, 2 singles and a walk. And Zimmermann struck out Alex Gordon in the 2nd inning with a fastball, and he's ahead 0-2. One ball and 2 strikes. Still 1-2. Salvador Perez will follow, and then Omar Infante.
So here's the chatter in the Royals dugout. Ooh, he's got some good stuff tonight. Somebody's going to get him, though. He's going to make a mistake out for somebody. They'll get him. That's what they're saying to each other.
Sliced into left center, and that drops in front of Upton. So Alex just simply didn't hit it hard enough, and it just flamed out when it got into left field and dropped in front of Upton.
That's a start. Again, challenging him with the fastball. This is down the middle. Got in on him just a tad till he. Actually, that helped him get a base hit. If he squares it up anymore, it's going to be a line out to Upton. But again, Monty, being aggressive with the fastball, not being nervous about any particular player, looking at the name saying, oh man, I better be careful here. He's pitching his game.
Well, he's fearless out there. Haven't seen a lot of good swings so far yet tonight, so he's very confident, and so far his stuff's been great.
And now Salvador Perez, who drove in a career high 5 last night. He had a 2-run double in the 3rd, a 3-run home run in the 5th. It's the 2nd time the Royals have had the leadoff man on in 5 innings. Lined over Iglesias. 2 on and nobody out.
All right, first 2 guys up, first 2 guys on. Another fastball elevated, but Salvi pulls his hands in. Look at the body language in English. He's trying to help that ball get over Iglesias' head. He's saying, come on, come on, come on. All right. Now, wouldn't be surprised here with Infante coming up as you see Iglesias doing all he can to drop a bunt down. We'll see. Ned does play some small ball.
But as we've learned over the last 2 years, that while Ned will call for a sacrifice bunt, the majority of sacrifice bunts that are executed by the Royals are the player deciding to do it himself. Infante had just 2 sacrifice bunts last year. He's had as many as 17 in a season, and that's when he was in the National League playing for the Marlins. He squares and bunts it over to the first base dugout. And what he'd like to do here is bunt it toward 3rd. That might have been a break right there for the Royals that he bunted it foul, because he was trying to push it toward 1st, and Cabrera was way in on the grass. They may have had a play at 3rd base.
If you're going to sacrifice, just get it down.
0-2.
Sooner you get the ball down, the better. That little slider, that's a little easier one to bump, but the bat head was not at the right angle. You got to stay on top of that ball, and once the bat head dips, it's going to foul off. Keep the barrel up, barrel above the hands if you can. Bend those knees. Get yourself in a comfortable position. Now with 0-2, he's going to be hacking.
Zimmerman has been at his best in the early part of this year in situations like this with runners in scoring position. Opponents are just 1 for 12 against him this year, including the Royals 0 for 1 so far tonight. So he's a clutch pitcher, if you will. Oh, Infante takes a fastball right down the middle. So Zimmerman actually looked like he made a mistake there, Monty. He didn't put it where Saltalamacchia wanted it.
Yeah, oftentimes if you're down, you can get away with that. Almost locked up. Omar Infante wouldn't come in, and it really kind of came back out a little bit to the middle part of the play, but still an effective pitch.
A little bit surprised to see Infante not pulling the string there, but you know, like you said, might have caught him guessing or thinking.
Dyson grounded out to short in the 3rd inning. Gordon's at second. Perez is at first. And Dyson grounds it to Kinsler. And Salvador Perez is going to get in a rundown. Alex Gordon makes a move for the plate. And is out. Iglesias to Saltalamacchia. So not a bad move there. Otherwise, the Royals would have grounded into a double play with no shot to get the runner to the plate. So Gordon takes off. So it goes 4-3, 6-2. Inning over. Enjoying Royals baseball, and thanks to the early start, she's going to get to bed at a decent hour tonight. 1-0 Tigers as they come up in the 6th inning. Jose Iglesias threw out Alex Gordon at the plate to complete a double play, ending the bottom of the 5th inning. At the plate, he is 1 for 1 with a single to right field. He tried to stretch it into a double and was thrown out at second base. Infante throws out Iglesias, and there is one down. And now Kia is going to put us in the driver's seat. Royals last year had the 3rd best record at home in the American League. The Astros and the Blue Jays were the only teams that were better. And if you include the playoffs, the Royals have won 12 of their last 13 home games. Kinsler, was he in the box or out of the box? We're going to say he was still in the box, and that ball came up and hit him. And the Royals so far this year at Kauffman Stadium are off to a good start. They are 5-1, and they've won their last 4.
Now the rules state if you bunt the ball and you're outside of the hitter's box and it hits you, you're out. And if it hits you while you're still in the box, it's foul ball.
And the rules state if you get hit above your number 3 on the back of your jersey, you are awarded first base, whether you're in the box or not.
That's right.
Kinsler trying to climb the ladder and got away. It looked like he flew open a little too early, and that when that shoulder flies open, the ball has a tendency to go up and in to righties, and sure enough, that was the case to Kinsler.
So 1 on 1 out. And now Upton bunts in the air. It drops fair and rolls foul. Good read by Mike Moustakas.
That high fastball, you know, that's a tough one. The best pitches to bunt are breaking balls that are already going down. That way, you know, you want to get the ball down. But that straight one, and he was just trying to do a little surprise bunt there, but you really got to stay on top of it. Upton's only had 3 sacrifice bunts in his career. So not a guy you want bunting really with that kind of power.
He is hitting .236 and he's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a pop-up. So maybe in his mind he's thinking the best chance he has right now to get on base would be to drop down a bunt and get Miguel Cabrera to the plate with a couple of runners on. Big swing. No balls and 2 strikes.
That's why I was a little surprised when Kinsler was trying to bunt. He's been really that kind of spark plug guy, and I think if he bunts, he almost does you a favor.
Yeah, both guys. Yes, almost like a thank you because they can hit the ball in the park. Now, I mentioned he only has 3 sacrifice bunts, but Upton in his career has 13 bunt hits, so he's done that before.
Fastball right by him. So Kennedy has struck out 7. Zimmerman has struck out 8. So 15 strikeouts in this game in fewer than 6 innings. Let's go to Joel.
Well, we'll see if the Royals need that bullpen, but out there, Miguel Almonte, as Dylan G is on paternity leave. And we saw a great conversation last night between Almonte and Wade Davis from a distance, and I asked Miguel about it today, and he said, how great is it that the best reliever in all of baseball is sitting there teaching me? He was working with curveball grip with Miguel, and Miguel said, I want to try it out. I might change some things and see what I can do, as Cabrera is going to hit the single to left field. Now, interesting, guys, I went to Wade Davis and I said, is that something you typically would do, go and teach the young guys? And Wade looked at me and he said, no, I was just working on my Spanish. I was just trying to learn Spanish, which I do every day. That didn't seem right to me. I talked to bullpen coach Doug Henry, and Doug said, no. He's trying to deflect attention. He works with the young guys out there and works with them every single day. But interesting, Monty, too. He was working on changing his curveball grip, or at least giving him that suggestion to go from a 2-seam to a 4-seam grip, and Miguel really excited about that.
Yeah, you can always learn, especially when there's an opportunity to in the bullpen. I remember talking with David Cone when he came over to the Royals. I had a chance to talk with a veteran in David Cone about curveball grip. He changed his grip to the same curveball grip that I was showing him. He goes out and wins a Cy Young Award. So you can learn. It doesn't. You could be Miguel Almonte or you could be David Cone. I mean, you can learn from talking to your teammates.
Maybe one of the most famous messing with grips was Mariano Rivera.
Right.
He was a power pitcher, threw in the mid to upper 90s, and was just playing catch with the Yankees bullpen catcher one day and just messing around with different grips, and then all of a sudden, wow, did you see the movement? Is that a cutter? And changed his career.
Monty, is it true that a lot of pitchers find a grip just by playing catch before the game out on the field on the flat ground?
Well, that's when you want to really experiment. That's when nothing matters. But once you are able to do it, you establish confidence and you take it in the game, then you start having some success. That's when it really pays off. And I think you can just learn so much from pitching coaches, from teammates. Sometimes you'll talk to some pitchers that you've played with in prior years. You might see them when they come into town with another team, but pick their brains.
One and two on Victor Martinez.
I would always welcome opportunities to talk to guys like Rick Aguilera and Dennis Eckersley, guys who had success and pitch kind of in the same roles that you pitch in. Talk to them about, hey, how are you getting Kirby Puckett out, or how are you doing this against this guy? And it's amazing what you can learn just by sharing information.
Man, that works for hitters too.
How did you get Kirby Puckett out?
Hope he hit it at somebody. And it wasn't you up the middle.
Martinez has Kinsler at second base and Cabrera at first. And now Salvi and Kennedy are going to talk it over.
I remember sitting on the pine for 9 with the Angels when I was a player, and Chili Davis, great switch hitter, and Rod Carew, 7-time batting champ Hall of Famer, was the hitting coach, our hitting coach then. And they would come in. Chili was a DH, so we'd come in after his at-bats, and we had the whole 3 outs, the whole innings. To hear those two talk about hitting was interesting. They were talking, they would almost argue about what the pitcher's trying to do to him in certain counts. And I never thought like that. And you could only help but pick up some knowledge, and I had my best 3 years out there by learning. So it works both ways. Ask questions.
2-2 on Martinez.
And even young players that are out there, don't be afraid to ask questions to your coaches and ask them. Don't be afraid to. That's how you learn.
That is a base hit into left center field. Kinsler will score. The Tigers lead 2-0, and that is a milestone RBI for Victor Martinez. 1,000 for his career. And born in Venezuela, he is now in very elite company. Just the 5th Venezuelan-born hitter with 1,000 career RBIs.
And he did it on a beautiful swing. As they're asking for the ball now, as that's an inside-out stroke. Escobar playing him to pull up the middle and just sliced it to left.
1,000 RBIs, Victor Martinez, for the Indians, the Red Sox, and the Tigers. And all he has to do is look to the base in front of him for another Venezuelan who has the most RBIs for a player from that country. Omar Vizquel, also from Venezuela, known more for his glove than his bat, although he became a good hitting shortstop at the end of his career. JD Martinez hits it into deep right field, and Dyson on the track makes the play. So Victor Martinez gives the Royals or the Tigers rather, a 2-0 lead, and now the Royals have the top of the order coming up against Jordan Zimmermann in the bottom of the 6th. Ian Kennedy's had a good night. He has allowed 2 runs on 4 hits in 6 innings. But the Royals have not scored yet for him, and he's talking over that top of the 6th with pitching coach Dave Island. Now the Royals begin their 3rd time through against Jordan Zimmermann, who has allowed no runs on 4 hits. Our Sonic Slam inning contestant is Mike Pink from Leawood. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Mike wins $900. If the Royals hit a grand slam, Mike wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. Escobar, Moustakas, Kane, if anybody gets on. Eric Hosmer. Crack bat, 1 hop to Zimmermann. And Escobar is 0 for 3. Okay, let's answer our sprint trivia question for tonight with Salvador Perez driving in 5 runs last night, a career high. Our question is, who holds the Royals single game record for RBIs by a catcher? And I'm going to say Miguel Olivo. Monty?
Anytime there's an opportunity to give a little credit to my favorite catcher all time, Mike McFarland, I got to do it. So I'm going Matt.
Okay.
There you go. That's my guy, Monty.
One and one on Mike Moustakas. He is 1 for 2 with a single. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes. All right, here's the answer. Jerry Grote, 7 RBIs in 1981. Kurt Nelson, who is the director of the Royals Hall of Fame, sent me 8 text messages on Jerry Grote. And I'm not kidding. Count them, Monty. Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Wow.
I can count 8?
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Line to left, and Upton runs it down. Nice play by the Tigers left fielder. So Jerry Grote, he was a member of the 1969 Miracle Mets. We remembered him as a member of that team. He had been retired for 2 years and came back to the Royals for 22 games in 1981, which included the 7 RBIs. That, by the way, those 7 RBIs, he was the first Royal to ever have a 7 RBI game, Jerry Grote.
I mean, those texts weren't just a couple of lines. Those are a huge paragraph each one.
Lorenzo Cain has struck out looking and struck out swinging against Zimmermann. And they're going to say he went around there. Larry Vanover is the first base umpire, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, that ball that Moose hit in that last at bat was the hardest hit ball off of Zimmermann tonight. He tagged it.
And now Zimmermann and Saltalamacchia, for the time being, are not on the same page. Cain was able to hold his swing, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, one thing I can see about Zimmermann, he has a difficult time throwing anything straight. Everything's got life to it. Even his four-seam fastball has good life to it.
Just outside.
Well, and you know, this is his 3rd start. I mean, he faced the Yankees and Pittsburgh. I mean, those are all big league hitters, and they're not doing anything off of him either, Monty. And you mentioned it. If it's straight, it gets hit. If it's got movement, it doesn't.
Iglesias charges, tough hop, no play, and Cain is on with 2 down. Base hit for Cain. And the Royals have their 5th hit against Zimmerman.
Little two hopper on that 3rd hop. It looks like it might have hit the lip between the grass and the dirt and came up on him. Let's see where this final hop here hits. Yeah, that's right there, and it came up on him. It just off the lip of the grass, and Iglesias with great hands wasn't able to pull his glove up in time and throw him out.
And now Eric Hosmer got a breaking ball for a strike. Hosmer single to right and stole a base in the 2nd. And then he struck out swinging in the 4th. 90 pitches thrown by Zimmerman. And again, Zimmerman and Saltalamacchia are disagreeing on what pitch to go with. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Zimmerman has not allowed a home run yet this year, and we told you he gave up a career high 24 last year. Chopped off of Zimmerman's glove twice, 3 times, and another break. So 2 ground balls, both of which could have ended the inning. One a hit, this one an error on Zimmerman, and the inning continues.
Well, how many times have we seen this? This is the Royals' way. They put the ball in play, they make contact, and lots of times they make things happen. Now the other thing too is that juggling act by Zimmerman took him all the way down past first base into foul territory. Is his wind up? Is it going to wind him? Is he going to make that mistake now that the Royals have been looking for? We'll wait and see, because whenever you make that pitcher move like that, sometimes he'll leave a ball out over the middle. Let's see, as the Royals like to pass the baton and keep the line moving.
Well, one thing they've done such a great job of this year is taking advantage of opportunities. Here's one on consecutive ground balls that likely would have been out. Now an opportunity.
Right man, right spot up.
Kendrys Morales is 0 for 2. 2 on, 2 out. Down and away, ball 1. Morales was a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning, and then he had a comebacker, which Zimmerman handled in the 4th. Tigers begin to stir in their bullpen. Nobody warming up yet. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Anthony Goes, center fielder for the Tigers, playing to Morales a slight pull. Pretty much straight up on the infield. Iglesias, the shortstop's playing a little more towards the middle for Morales, and it looks like they're thinking he might pull Zimmerman.
Fouled it off of his foot. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
See the little dot on the baseball? That's what hitters see when a good slider's thrown. A little slider cutter right there. Morales now with 2 strikes. We'll see if he shortens up and just tries to hit the ball where it's pitched and put it in play. Usually he'll take his first couple of swings hard, and then we'll see what he does here.
And now another ground ball. Kinsler will handle this one, and he throws a strike to end the inning. And now opponents against Zimmerman with runners in scoring position this year are 1 for 15. So it's not just the Royals. 2-0 Detroit. has not allowed a run this year. 19 scoreless innings as the Tigers come up in the 7th inning. Panera takes us around the league. Bryce Harper hit this grand slam last night. The Nationals hit 4 home runs in 1 inning. And now Bryce Harper, who has 7 home runs, is on pace to shatter some of the numbers from last year when he was National League MVP. Only Trevor Story of the Rockies has more home runs than Harper. How about the third line? He has more home runs than strikeouts.
He could be on his way to a record-setting season offensively. This guy's he's a big time star.
Yeah, that third line, more home runs than strikeouts. That's
sick.
It's hard to believe.
It is.
And he tied for the league lead last year in home runs, but he didn't hit his 7th until the 2nd week of May. Castellanos takes inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Kennedy's allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. Tigers got a run in the 3rd inning on Kinsler's double, and a run in the 6th on a Victor Martinez single. Both runs, by the way, reached without a base hit. Saltalamacchia scored after walking in the 3rd. Kinsler scored after being hit by a pitch in the 6th. No swing, and now 3-2 on Castellanos. Broken bat. Escobar out, Gordon in, and Castellanos is on. He is 1 for 3.
Ryan, you were talking about that Victor Martinez single. I noticed Ian Kennedy, after he executed the pitch, was a breaking ball down. It looked like it's a pretty good location, and after he gets the base hit to drive in that 2nd run, it was almost as though Kennedy felt like, hey, I executed the pitch, quality hitter at the plate. He got a little frustrated with himself. I'm thinking maybe he's thinking now, second guessing his selection of pitches, because he really kind of snapped out on the mound like, what just happened right here?
It's a very accomplished hitter at the plate. That happened to be Martinez's 1,000th RBI, and I'll bet many times with Victor Martinez at the plate, the pitcher thought he made a pretty good pitch and didn't get the result he was looking for.
See his reaction right here. It's like he was really upset with himself. But it looked like a good pitch, good location.
Yeah, that shot, that super slow motion. Great to see the overhand torque on the curve, but also when Martinez made contact, how the ball changed, and he put some spin going away on it.
Reverse direction.
He reverse directed it. It's really interesting. Let's check it out again here. And that overhand spin, it's like, now watch him when he hits it, it changes directions.
Little underspin.
And the ball moving away like that tells you he squared that up perfectly inside out, inside the ball.
One and one on Saltalamacchia. He walked and scored in the 3rd inning and struck out in the 5th. The umpires just had a little chat with Ian Kennedy. We saw the same thing on Thursday against the Astros. Remember, we found out that they were not happy with the way he was placing his hands in the set position.
Right, he was hiding the baseball from the runner at first base, so they weren't able to see where the baseball was. He was actually seeming like he was kind of holding it down in front of what would be his front pocket if he had on a pair of jeans, for example.
And that's what he's doing right here, which the Royals were saying that he's done that his whole career. Slide step. And now I'm not sure if that's what they were talking about it again. Here's when that's when the home plate umpire David Rackley.
Hey, it's all about the separation of the hands. And Salvi's saying, hey, why don't you come out and explain that to him?
And the argument is that if he hides the ball in his hand, then the runner at first base can't see when he's coming set. Right? Is that the explanation, Monty?
One thing I'm maybe concerned about is that if he doesn't have the baseball and his throwing hand in his glove together, in other words, they're apart, he can do a lot more things when they're apart than when they are together.
A single and now a walk, and that's the second walk for Saltalamacchia. And those are the only 2 walks allowed by Kennedy. A 2 on, nobody out. Anthony Gose coming up. Remember, you can get closer to the action at Kauffman Stadium with our Royals Memories program. You can choose amongst a variety of unique opportunities, such as a photo on the field, watching batting practice, and delivering the game ball. All experiences are available for purchase each game exclusively through the MLB.com Ballpark app. Luke Hochevar goes to work on the Royals bullpen as Moustakas, Infante, Hosmer, and Perez all had a conference with Kennedy on the mound.
Probably about the situation right here. First and second, nobody out. You got a good bunter at the plate. Dave Clark already called Anthony Gose over to talk to him. So there's a little strategy working here. See if he bunts it. If you do, either place, just get the ball down.
He missed the bunt, or at least he tipped it back into Perez's glove. 0-1. Anthony Gose in his career has 11 sacrifice bunts. Perez goes to third. So he got it, or put it too close to home plate, and that ended up being an easy play for Salvador Perez. So first and second, 1 out.
Smart play. Gose, once he drops it down, he's very fast, and there's no way if Salvi would have went to second, they could have doubled him up. So why not take the force at third? Good decision.
Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard, an area where the Royals have really thrived the past few years. We talk about hitters and what they do with runners in scoring position. How about what the pitchers do with runners in scoring position? And only the Cubs have been better than the Royals in the major leagues. The Royals have been best in the American League. And on the flip side of that, the pitcher the Royals are facing tonight, Jordan Zimmermann, has held hitters to 1 for 15 this year with runners in scoring position. So when the situation gets tighter, Royals pitchers and tonight Jordan Zimmermann get better. A strike to Iglesias.
You guys thinking about the Royals' 9 victories this year, the majority of them have been fairly close margins. Wade Davis with 6 saves already, and he's got a win. So that box we saw with the Royals pitchers, the opponent's batting average against, it really kind of tells a story on why they've been able to win these close games.
Lined off of Moustakas' glove. Saltalamacchia will be held. He had to freeze on that line drive. Iglesias has his second hit, and the Tigers have the bases loaded. And now Ned Yost comes up the steps, and he's going to go get Luke Hochevar out of the Royals bullpen, as Hochevar has been the fireman coming in the middle of the inning where there's trouble. And there's trouble here in a 2-0 game with the bases loaded, 1 out in the 7th inning. Or maybe Ned's going to give Kennedy a chance to stay in. He appears to be glancing over Kennedy's shoulder to the bullpen. Maybe just giving Hochevar another pitch or two. And now the call is made. So Kennedy is out. Chevy call to the bullpen. Hochevar grabs his axe. He grabs his hose and comes into the game. Ian Kennedy are chatting, and Ned is quite animated. Kennedy giving up 2 runs in 6 1/3 innings with 7 strikeouts. And I think the reason Ned is animated is because as he was coming off the mound after bringing in Luke Hochevar, he was discussing with David Rackley what the umpires have against Kennedy's setup. And I think from Kennedy's point of view, what they suddenly have against his setup, because now 2 games in a row the umpires have called him out for the way he has been coming set. Hochevar to Ian Kinsler. Down and away, ball 1. Bases loaded, 1 out. 2-0 Tigers, 7th inning. Kinsler has already driven in a run, and he has scored a run.
Tough situation here for Hoch, but he can do it. Opponent's only hitting 182 off of him in just 6 innings of work. 8 strikeouts. Got a nice overhand curve, cutter for a fastball, and a straight 4-seamer.
Cutter's in for a strike, 1-1. Mentioned the fireman role coming in the middle of an inning, and Hochevar's done it several times already. So he has inherited the most runners in the major leagues. This is kind of a throwback role where now relievers have an assigned inning and they're normally getting clean innings. Before closers were closers, they were called firemen because they didn't just come on in the 9th inning. They came on in the 60s, 70s, and 80s when there was a fire. Sometimes that fire was in the 7th inning, sometimes it was in the 8th inning.
And normally your performance as a relief pitcher in those situations would really dictate the outcome of the game, and that's why it was such an important role.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Kinsler looking to elevate one of those pitches. That was an uppercut swing, and he's got plenty of pop. Wants to get one in the air, see if he can drive him deep enough to score the catcher, Saltalamacchia, from third base.
Be a good count for Luke Hochevar to look at that over-the-top curveball, get a ground ball double play maybe.
Swing and a miss would work.
Struck him out. Huge out for Hochevar and the Royals.
Cutter, very effective pitch for him, and he rarely misses with that. Always right there, just off of the plate enough to see how he's able to follow through with that. The dot showing again on the baseball, and Kennedy becomes a fan now.
Jeff Montgomery, by the way, in his Royals Hall of Fame career, inherited 304 runners. And that just happened to be the same number of saves he had in his career. How about that?
Really?
Upton takes a fastball at 95 over the outside. How about that, Monty?
Interesting. I wouldn't have guessed it would have been anywhere near that number. Although early on it was a lot of situations coming in, for the most part, a lot like this.
Little 3, 4 out, or 4 or 5 out saves.
Bases loaded, 2 down. Upton was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts against Kennedy, and he hits it in the air to right field. Dyson is back, and he has a play, and Hochevar puts the fire out again. We're going to have to get him a little Dalmatian. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium. The Royals are down 2-0. Beautiful night in Kansas City. The Royals are coming up down 2-0. Trying to figure out Jordan Zimmermann. Yellow. For Jordan Zimmermann. He was a walk, and then later a strikeout wild pitch from a perfect game. First no-hitter in Nationals history. And he's gotten off to a great start in his first year with the Tigers. He has already tied a Tigers record with 19 scoreless innings to begin a season, tying Hal White in 1942. And if he pitches a scoreless 7th inning, Jordan Zimmermann will have the best start in Tigers history, at least through 20 innings. He has allowed 5 hits. He has committed an error, and he has walked 1. Alex Gordon singled to left in the 5th inning and struck out in the 2nd. Zimmermann has struck out 8. That's more than he had in his first 2 starts combined. very high. If it comes down, Iglesias wants it. One away.
100th pitch thrown. In his previous 2 starts, he threw 100 in his opening day start against the Yankees and 107 in his second start.
Only 2 innings with 20 or more pitches, but look at the other ones. 11, 10, 15, 11. And now Salvador Perez with 1 out, and Salvi hits it out toward left center field. That'll be down. Ghost turns and throws to second base, and Salvi is in with a 1-out double. Salvador Perez has had a perfect night tonight against Zimmerman with a walk, a single, and now a double.
Well, it's the time of the game when a lot of pitchers experiencing a little bit of fatigue, maybe. 4th time through the order. A lot of starters don't make it this far. But there's a fastball up and drivable, and he's able to barrel it. He didn't get it like he could, or it would have shot to the wall, but Ghost is able to cut it off. Got a good arm, but not this time.
And now Omar Infante, who might be the biggest out for Zimmerman tonight. And he fouls it back. The Royals have had very few chances against Zimmerman, but back in the 5th inning, Gordon singled, Perez singled, and at that point it was a 1-0 game, and with 2 on and nobody out, Infante tried to bunt twice. He fouled them both away and eventually struck out, and Zimmerman ended up getting out of the inning. No balls and 2 strikes.
That was Salvi's 4th double, tying Infante for the team lead in doubles, and now maybe Infante can trade places with Salvi.
That last pitch, Zimmerman put it exactly where he wanted it to be. He hasn't made many mistakes tonight. Hope he makes one here.
Grounded sharply. Iglesias makes a great play. Safe at first base. Now remember, the replay system is down on the Tigers side, so both teams all night have had their 1 challenge, but then in the 7th inning or later, if they have used their challenge, they can always ask. And Infante is safe. The Tigers will not dispute that call, and Jordan Zimmerman's coming out of the game.
Hey, Salvador Perez, he looked at Infante and he patted his chest like, my bad for not going to third base, but that was too close. But you could hear Infante with our great sound system. His foot hit the bag and the catch of the ball. You could hear it. So you didn't even need a replay there.
So the Royals get into the Tigers bullpen. Mark Lowe takes over for Zimmerman.
inning alive with one out here. 7th inning. Mark Lowe's the new pitcher. Listen very carefully for the sound of the foot hitting the bag and the ball at the same time. Watch this. You can hear, or listen. So and that's what umpires, a lot of times they'll go on the sound. And you can hear his foot hit and the ball at the same time. And then Infante, of course, hitting the front part of the base is proper because you get there quicker.
So Mark Lowe with 2 on, 1 out, facing Jarrod Dyson. Breaking ball down and away. Lowe is a Chevy call to the bullpen. He's an addition to the Tigers this past offseason to help strengthen their bullpen. Last year, Lowe started with the Mariners and then went to the Blue Jays. And against the Royals last year, in the regular season and the postseason combined, he gave up 5 runs in 4 1/3 innings. 2-0 on Dyson.
Staying soft. He's got a lively fastball. It's a hard sinker. Mid-90s, maybe a little upper. He's got a nice slider, and so far staying away from Dyson because that's how they're playing him. Up in the left fielder, he's really guarding that left field line. A lot of alleys open in the outfield.
2-1 on Dyson. So let's see how the Royals do with runners in scoring position against Mark Lowe. Zimmerman is out. Zimmerman has allowed opponents to go just 2 for 16 against him. Grounded to Cabrera. Out at second base. Back to first, and Lowe did a nice job of at least getting his glove on that low throw. If that skipped by him, Salvador Perez may be able to score from third. So Sal to third, Infante cut down at second base, and Dyson's at first with 2 down.
Pretty risky throw there by Iglesias. Throwing to a pitcher like that and a ball in the dirt could have threw the Royals a run just right there, but Lowe did a nice job of just getting his glove on it.
First and third for Escobar. He is 0 for 3. Dyson already has a big lead. One and 0. It's early, but the Tigers are happy with their bullpen. And they have not lost a game this year when they've had a lead after 6 innings. They're 7-0. Escobar chops it out to deep short. Iglesias throws in time to end the inning. So the Royals actually have more hits tonight than the Tigers do, but it's been a tough night with runners in scoring position. Lowe gets Zimmerman out of the 7th. It is still 2-0 Detroit. a good pitching night, and it's been that. As the Tigers have scored 2 runs, the Royals have been scoreless through 7. Ian Kennedy gave up 2 runs in 6 1/3 with 7 strikeouts. Jordan Zimmerman, no runs in 6 1/3 with 8 strikeouts. And it's Joakim Soria pitching the 8th inning. That is his inning, but not when the Royals are down by 2 in the 8th. But this might have more to do with just getting him right back out there after struggling last night.
Yep. Ned likes to do that. A lot of managers do. Once a guy gets hit a little bit, get him right back out there.
Ball went to the right. Cabrera's bat to the left and inside the Tiger dugout. And the bat will be returned.
So you see him putting the Moda stick on there. That's that little stick-up substance. Throws it back to the bat boy. Get a little bit better grip on that bat.
Cabrera singled in the 6th inning, 1 for 3. He is also grounded out twice.
Soria's going to mix up his pitches. Fastball, he'll go low 90s. Slider, curve, and a change.
Tied him up. Still 0-2. The numbers are what they are. And Soria in 7 innings has given up 10 hits. But the advanced numbers will say that the majority of those hits have not been hard hit. Got away with a pitch right there. 0-2 on Cabrera. Not quite where Salvador Perez wanted it. Salvi wanted that pitch way up. That thing was thigh high down the middle.
Yep. He'll spray the ball depending on where Cabrera wants to hit it.
Infante got a glove on it, and he will get Cabrera. One down. Time for a Premier Mazda game break, and today was a big day in Kansas City. Royals players and other civic and community leaders broke ground on the Kansas City MLB Urban Youth Academy. It's a $14 million project, and Royals general manager Dayton Moore talked about his goals.
Our goal is 8-10 years from now, there's more boys and girls receiving college scholarships to play baseball and softball than anywhere in the country. And it's going to be right here in Kansas City. And we're going to work hard to provide people those opportunities.
Dayton was there. Kansas City Mayor Sly James, Tony Riggins, Major League Baseball Senior Vice President of Youth Programs, Daryl Miller, Vice President of Youth and Facility Development. There to break ground. A $14 million project. It'll include an indoor training facility, 3 state-of-the-art baseball fields, and 1 softball field at the 18th and Vine district.
They had some heavy hitters there. Daryl Miller, of course, from the famous Miller family. All basketball stars, but Daryl was a big leaguer. And Tony Riggins was a general manager for the Angels one particular time.
So there's a layout. Also going to have a couple of basketball courts.
Beautiful.
There are several baseball academies around the world, and especially in Latin America, that are owned by major league teams. Caught by Hosmer. Martinez lines out 2 down. But many years ago, in the early years of the Royals, they had an academy here in the United States. It was in Florida, which produced a handful of major leaguers, including Frank White, Ron Washington, UL Washington. And it was a concept way ahead of its time, and people still talk about the Royals who just went out and they got athletes. Some had extensive baseball experience, some had very little baseball experience, but they played the game, they taught the game. There was regular schooling that was involved, and then that was really the last time that there was a team that really dug deep in the United States with a baseball academy, and it's something Dayton Moore has had on his mind even before he became Royals general manager.
Yeah, just another wonderful opportunity here in Kansas City for young baseball players to go, girls and boys. And you know what was neat is a synthetic turf. It's not grass field, so you can use it all year.
Check swing and a full swing. Larry Vanover, the first base umpire, 1-2 on JD Martinez. Two balls and 2 strikes. Out of play. Soria last night came on in the 8th inning. He struck out the first hitter. The Royals at the time had a 3-run lead, but then an infield single to Iglesias, a ground ball base hit by Kinsler, and then a walk on 4 straight pitches to Justin Upton. Loaded the bases with 1 out. Ned Yost went to Kelvin Herrera, who got the Royals out of the 8th inning. And Martinez is nailed by a 2-2 pitch. So he's on with 2 down.
Fastball up and in, got away from him.
And now Nick Castellanos. Castellanos has hit in 6 straight games. Off to a good start. Batting at .356. He singled to left in the 7th inning. One and one. Nice job. That young guy ended up with that souvenir in the first row of the upper deck. It looked like he had one of those little Royals helmets. You know, you get a sundae in the helmet.
Sure, little ice cream.
I remember collecting those when I was a kid, going to Dodger Stadium. You know,
sure.
Just another reason to go to the concession stand to get an ice cream sundae, so you can get another one of the helmets from another major league team. Into right center field. Kane and Dyson are there. Kane wants it. He's got it. Soria has a scoreless top of the 8th inning. So the Royals still down by 2. They have Moustakas, Kane, and Hosmer coming up. 2-0, and it's time for a Premier Mazda game break. Tyler Saladino homers against the Angels. That was a solo home run. The White Sox went on to beat the Angels 2-1, so Chicago has a record of 10-5, and at the moment in a first place tie with the Royals. This is Justin Wilson, a lefty, on for Detroit to face Moustakas, Kane, and Hosmer. Wilson is not allowed to run in his first 6 games, and he almost nailed Moustakas with the first pitch.
He's got a lively arm. Mid-90s, cuts that fastball. He'll also mix in a big curveball.
That ball will land on top of the Tiger dugout. In pursuit is Andrew Romine, who takes over at third base for Castellanos. So he'll bat in the number 6 spot. Romine came into the game last night and pinch ran for Victor Martinez in the 8th inning after Martinez was hit on the knee with a Kelvin Herrera pitch. Moustakas is 1 for 3, and one of his outs is a line out to left. That breaking ball hangs high. 2 balls and 1 strike.
It's interesting to see the first series of the year for the Tigers, how they revamped their bullpen. Got a lot of new arms out there. This is a good looking lefty specialist here, using that high fastball.
Don't forget to vote for the Royals Player of the Month at one of the 7 Rally House locations in the KC metro area. All participants will be entered to win a majestic prize pack. 2-2 on Moustakas. Just got a piece of it. Chin Ming Wong warms up for the 9th inning unless something changes with the score. Breaking ball ripped into right field for a base hit. So he really didn't get a hittable pitch until that breaking ball there, and Moustakas was right on it.
Second knock of the night for Moose, and really did him a favor by that big breaking ball. He sped his bat up. He had some success on some high fastballs, but that's right over the middle of the plate. Moose short and compact with the stroke. Head down on the ball, trying to set the table up here for possibly another Royals comeback.
Kane tries to go the other way against Wilson. Lorenzo was 1 for 3 against Jordan Zimmerman with a single to center field. He had been 0 for 11 before that base hit.
Well, Wilson provides a power left-handed arm out of their bullpen. Being with the Pittsburgh Pirates the last few years, Clint Hurdle loved the fact that he was versatile. Can throw multiple innings. And with that cutter right there, he's got the ability to get both righties and lefties out. This is a cutter at 93. That looked like more like a slider. Could have been, but he says he loves his cutter.
Grounded out to Iglesias. Out at second base, and the Tigers turn a double play. Well, just one of those nights where the Royals, they've had runners, just haven't been able to get anything going.
And another good pitch by Wilson. It's in off the plate, not in the middle, and it jammed Lorenzo Cain.
Fastball is low at 96 to Hosmer. He is 1 for 3. He has a 10-game hitting streak. And he has reached base safely in now 22 consecutive games going back to last year. That's the second longest in the major leagues. Off the end of the bat and into the dugout suite, Nick Markakis of the Braves is the only big leaguer who has a longer streak dating back to last year than Eric Hosmer. One and two.
Haas thought this was a little bit away, but right where the catcher Saltalamacchia wanted it. Good pitch.
And now Hosmer chased a breaking ball in the dirt and strikes out. So a promising start after the Moustakas single, but Wilson faces just 3. To the 9th inning, Chien-Ming Wang will come on. The Tigers lead 2-0. Tigers, that's been our score since the 6th inning. MLB is in full swing. Tomorrow night, the Royals wrap up this series in a game on FS1. Coverage begins at 5:30, or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Justin Kutcher and Tom Verducci will have the call tomorrow night with Edinson Volquez and his 2-0 record against Mike Pelfrey, the Wichita kid, who is 0-2 but has a good ERA. Final game of the series tomorrow night. Then the Orioles are here for a 3-game set beginning on Friday night. Chien-Ming Wang is on for the 3rd time this year to get the lower third of the Tigers' order in the 9th. Jared Saltalamacchia has walked twice and he has scored a run. We were discussing him last night. Thought to be a frontline catcher for many years. Came up through the Braves organization, a 1st-round pick. Traded to Texas in that Mark Teixeira deal. The Rangers got Saltalamacchia, they got Neftali Feliz, they got Matt Harrison, they got Elvis Andrus. And then went to Boston. Lines it towards left center field, and that's going to be to the wall. Saltalamacchia is on for the 3rd time. And this is a guy who didn't have any huge years with his first 3 organizations, got a nice deal from the Marlins, and they released him with a year left on his contract. And the Tigers signed him to be a backup catcher, and now he's playing every day and leading the Tigers in several offensive categories.
Sure is, making the most of it, and he's doing it by staying inside of it and using the whole field. He's not just pulling balls. I mean, the switch hitter, last night we saw him take Duffy over the center field fence. Chien-Ming Wang, really heavy sinker baller. He'll mix in a curveball, maybe a changeup here or there, but he predominantly is a sinker, trying to keep the ball down and brings a lot of ground balls. Ghost wants to pull one and move him over.
And he does. And Hosmer was on it very quickly, so no advance. Saltalamacchia does not run well. Hosmer has a rifle for an arm. So runner at second with 1 out.
We've seen the Gold Glover at first base throw out runners at third base, but they weren't thinking. But Saltalamacchia, he knows all about the Gold Glove at Eric Hosmer. He knows. He stopped right there because Hosmer would have nailed him. Great throwing arm.
Heads up play by the base runner. I mean, I think most base runners, they see that ground ball to the right side and they're off.
Right, that's Saltalamacchia. No, he knows all about it. So that was very heads up.
Here's Jose Iglesias. He has a 2-hit game tonight. And that sinker is low for ball 1. A single to right and a single to left for Jose Iglesias. One ball and 1 strike. There's Francisco Rodriguez getting ready for the bottom of the 9th inning. The Royals will have Morales, Gordon, and Perez. One and 2 on Iglesias. Chien-Ming Wang has not pitched in 9 days. Back on the 11th in Houston, he stranded a couple of runners in relief of Chris Young. Just outside, 2 and 2.
Well, one of the many reasons that Chien-Ming Wang made the team is because he's a veteran. He's a guy who's been around. He gets plenty of throwing on the side, and he does his simulated pitching and throwing off of the rubber, and he's really relies on the sinker. So sinker's not so much a field pitch. He's just going to try to go up there and keep it down.
Right to Infante. Saltalamacchia will go to third, but there are 2 down. And tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler, Joe Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery, with producer Joe Vencius, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, Dave Holtzman. Hi, Holtzy. And the producer of Royals Live is Brian Shapiro. There's a strike to Ian Kinsler. Kinsler has driven in a run, and he has scored a run. Blocked by Salvi. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kinsler and Martinez, Victor Martinez, have the RBIs, but the 2 runs that scored. Saltalamacchia in the 3rd reached with a leadoff walk, and Kinsler in the 6th reached when he was hit by a pitch with 1 out.
Kinsler just took a peek down at Moustakas.
Up the middle and by Escobar, and the Tigers lead 3-0. So the Saltalamacchia leadoff double turns into a run, and Kinsler has driven in 2 tonight, and that's another multi-hit game for him. He has the most in the major league since the beginning of last year.
Sinker that didn't sink, it stayed up, and Kinsler again aiming towards the big part of the field, right up the middle.
Justin Upton is 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Over for a strike.
That's where he wants it. Right down in that area.
One and one on Upton. Jammed him, but he muscles it out into right center field. Kinsler makes the turn and goes to third.
Easy read for Kinsler, the base runner. Plays right in front of it. Upton fought off the sinker that was in on his hands, and he'll take it.
And that means that Miguel Cabrera will bat with 2 on, 2 out. Oh, and 1. Cabrera has 2 hits in the first 2 games of the series, and he's driven in a couple of runs, but he has been jammed and missed some pitches in this series more times than I think I've ever seen him in one series against the Royals. There's a little ground ball out to Infante, and that's the inning. But the Tigers score again. Kinsler drives in his second, and Francisco Rodriguez will have 3 runs to work with as he comes on in the bottom of the 9th. The current Detroit Tiger and former MU Tiger has driven in 2 runs tonight. Tigers lead 3-0. Royals won last night 8-6 in game 1, and now Francisco Rodriguez, another new piece to the Tigers bullpen. So the last 3 pitchers, actually all 4 pitchers tonight, were not with the Tigers last year. Zimmerman, and then out of the bullpen, Lowe, Wilson, and now Rodriguez.
Well, they needed to make some changes in that bullpen. Obviously, And Al Avila, in his first year as as the Tigers general manager, he went out and said, we gotta find a way to get a Royals bullpen. So a veteran in his 13th season. Doesn't throw as hard as he used to throw. He'll go 88 to 93, might top out at 95. But at one time he threw upper 90s when he broke in with the Angels back in '02. He's got a curveball. It looks like a slider, but it's a big breaker. He calls it a curve. And he'll mix in some changeups now. He's become a little bit more of a finesse type closer than he used to be. He used to be a power guy. There's the change. It's a beauty. He's using more of that changeup now. It keeps the hitters off of his fastball and his curve.
Up the middle, diving play. Iglesias throws low, and Cabrera picks it out. Wow. That was almost a blind throw to first base by Iglesias.
That was a sweet pickup there. That ball had topspin on it. I thought it was going to make it through the infield. 2-3 hops and Iglesias out of nowhere. Nice there. Nice pickup by Cabrera, but that was a beauty.
He had no time to pick up his target. He just had to know in the back of his mind where first base was.
Excellent hand-eye coordinated young man right there. His footwork is impeccable as well.
We saw 2 years ago the single best pitching performance in World Series history on the wrong side of it, and one of the best just pure postseason performances in Major League history. Alex deep into right center field. Goes at the wall. Gone. Alex Gordon just got it over the wall. And he hits his first home run of the year. And the Royals are on the board in the 9th inning.
Alex Gordon checks in with his first long ball of the year, and it was a beauty. High fastball, quick hands. He was able to stay up underneath the ball, and a beautiful stroke. That's our Jeep drive of the game. And you know, for Francisco Rodriguez, Royals are going to be seeing a lot of him this summer. And you know, that's a good sign. If they can't come back and get it, at least they know they can get it.
One 1-0 on Salvi, who's working on a perfect night. A walk in the second, a single in the fifth, and a double in the seventh. And that ball is blasted to left field. Upton at the wall, back to back, and the Royals are down by 1.
How important is that play Iglesias made now? Wow. All of a sudden, the Royals not getting on the board at all until the 9th inning on back-to-back shots. That ball is a little change-up maybe or something, but Salvi definitely barreled it. Again, just like Alex Gordon, caught the ball just right. No wonder the fans didn't leave.
Now fastball at just 88 for a strike. So Salvador Perez and Alex Gordon going deep back to back. For Alex, his first. For Salvi, his third. And his second in as many nights. Omar Infante is 1 for 3. Infante. Now he hasn't seen Francisco Rodriguez in 4 years, but his next hit against him will be his first. Just to finish the thought, I brought up Bumgarner a couple of years ago, also on the list of best postseason performances in Major League history. You saw it 14 years ago when a 20-year-old Francisco Rodriguez came up from the minor leagues and helped lead the Angels to a world championship.
Never seen anything like it.
Infante grounds it to third. Romine in for defense last inning, throws him out. And the Royals are down to their last out with Dyson coming up. 20 years old. He started the season in Double-A. Francisco Rodriguez, major league record 28 strikeouts for a reliever in a single postseason, and tied a major league record with 5 postseason wins.
Incredible success. He came up in September call-up, and him and Troy Percival had a great setup at 8, 9, 10. They were great. Big breaking ball. No one could hit it. He threw 99. And also, he was like a secret weapon. The Royals knew, or excuse me, the Angels knew they had him, but they didn't realize he was going to have that kind of success. And the rest of the league didn't see him. No one ever knew what he was, what he had, and he just really caught him by surprise. He's had a great career since.
Dyson, 1 ball, 1 strike. He is 0 for 3. Just the 4th time in Rodriguez's successful career where he's allowed 2 home runs in 1 game. Dyson's ahead in the count. 2 balls and 1 strike. Rodriguez is trying to nail down his 4th save of the year. So he has 389 career saves, so he should get to 400. As a 34-year-old. Gosh, he's been around a long time, and he's only 34. Dyson taps it foul, and now 2-2.
He's going with a lot of off-speed to Dyson.
Royals stranded 2 in the 2nd. 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th. They had chances against Jordan Zimmermann, but Zimmerman's been very tough this year with runners in scoring position. And the Royals finally score here in the 9th against Rodriguez. Dyson takes just inside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And of course, if he gets on, there's a very good chance and he'll be at second base with a stolen base.
Yeah, and had Infante reached, they have Gore to score in the dugout. May not need him. Let's see. Base hit, ball 4.
Ball 4. Rich Dubey's going to go out and chat with Rodriguez. The inning began with Kendrys Morales grounding one up the middle, and Jose Iglesias, Tigers shortstop, made a dynamic play to throw him out. And that, as Hud said, that is a huge play in this inning because, and here it is, because Alex Gordon and Salvador Perez followed with home runs.
That play saved the game for the Tigers up till this point. Worth another look for sure. One heck of a play. All right, situation comes now. Here we go. Escobar might want to give him a pitch or two to try to steal to get to second base. We'll see, although we know how Escobar is aggressive on that first pitch. But here, You want to see if you can get Dyson in scoring position.
He's running right away. And Dyson is in. And then he overslid the bag. But he just got his left hand back to the base. Kinsler did not seem to protest the call by second base umpire Alfonso Marquez.
We've seen Dyson over the years have difficulty sometimes slowing himself down. You use that back foot to anchor. You better get back on that bag. Yeah, you go. You got a lot of momentum going towards you, and that slide is really important. He's where he needs to be right now. The outfield, they've moved in. Dyson taking a peek at him. But with the 2 outs, he's going on contact. Kinsler giving him a little ground at second base there for him. Opens the hole between Cabrera and Kinsler on the right side.
Royals are just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight. Down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The Detroit Tigers had a pitcher similar to Francisco Rodriguez and Joe Nathan the last few years, and he was not a blow him away type of closer. So now they're going with another finesse type of closer. You wonder how it's going to work for Brad Ausmus.
Escobar is 0 for 4 so far tonight. Two and 1.
We've witnessed how the Royals can change the game with their speed. Dyson most likely won't attempt to steal third base, especially with Kinsler standing there. But any hit to the outfield could tie it up.
Stopped by Saltalamacchia. 3 balls and 1 strike.
2 come from behind wins out of their 9 victories this year. Kansas City.
Ball 4, and now Moustakas gets a shot. So that's back-to-back walks by Rodriguez. He has allowed 2 home runs, and now he has walked 2. Moustakas has had a good night at the plate. He has only seen Rodriguez once. Tonight, he has 2 singles, and the hardest hit ball he had tonight was an out when he lined to Upton in left field in the 6th inning. So he's had 3 good swings.
Well, all he needs really is 1 more. Split the gap. And we saw Saltalamacchia, the catcher, stand out in front of home plate and give some signs to the infielders to let him know in case the Royals do try a double steal where he was going to throw the ball.
Saltalamacchia has been busy with the last 2 hitters as Rodriguez is consistently missing down.
Curveball, sliders, and changeups. Fastball, we're seeing it all from Francisco Rodriguez.
Moustakas has 13 hits this year, and more than half, 7 of those, have been for extra bases. An extra base here, extra base hit, and the game is over. A single, and the Royals can tie it. Got the call. Changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a little bit off the grid there. Moose didn't like it. Escobar at first base. He's keeping an eye on Jarrod Dyson in case he goes. If he goes, Escobar wants to follow. Get the tying and winning run out there.
Two and one.
That's the one Moose is looking for out over the plate.
You're right. You hate to end the game with a runner out at third on a stolen base, but Rodriguez is very slow to the plate, and a double steal here means a single ends the game.
Yeah, then the infielders are back.
Not going, and fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Over that changeup again, good location.
$29,928 on a night where the Royals just couldn't get anything done on offense for 8 innings. They have 2 in the 9th. The tying run's at second. The winning run is at first. Struck him out. Got him with a changeup down and away. So the veteran Rodriguez hangs in there. The Tigers hang in there and get around the 2 home runs and the 2 walks in the bottom of the 9th inning.
K-Rod comes up with the changeup as being his best pitch.
So the play by Iglesias, and don't forget the second RBI of the game by Kinsler in the 9th inning. That was the difference. Brad Ausmus is checking his heart rate as they win 3-2.